America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the massive underground stockpile built after the 1970s oil crisis, is supposed to be the country's emergency fuel tank. War, natural disaster, supply shock, that's what it's for. But after years of releases, political fights, and sky-high energy prices, the reserve hit its lowest level in nearly 40 years. Now, the Trump administration says it's in the process of gradually refilling what they argue was badly depleted under President Biden. So what actually happened? Why was so much oil released? And how hard is it to refill hundreds of millions of barrels? Today, we break down the real story behind America's oil reserve, the politics, the numbers, the cost, and what comes next. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was created in 1975 after the Arab oil embargo sent the U.S. economy into chaos. Today, it includes 4 enormous storage sites carved deep into salt caverns beneath Texas and Louisiana. Total capacity, around 700 million barrels. To put that into perspective, the U.S. uses roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day. That means the entire reserve, if it were our only source, could power the country for about 20 days. Over the decades, presidents from both parties have tapped the SPR during crises. George H. W. Bush in 1991, during Operation Desert Storm. George W. Bush in 2005, after Hurricane Katrina. And most recently, Joe Biden in 2021-2022 during a period of severe price spikes and global disruption. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was created in 1975 after the Arab oil embargo sent the U.S. economy into chaos. Today, it includes 4 enormous storage sites carved deep into salt caverns beneath Texas and Louisiana. Total capacity, around 700 million barrels. To put that into perspective, the U.S. uses roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day. That means the entire reserve, if it were our only source, could power the country for about 20 days. Over the decades, presidents from both parties have tapped the SPR during crises. George H. W. Bush in 1991, during Operation Desert Storm. George W. Bush in 2005, after Hurricane Katrina. And most recently, Joe Biden in 2021-2022 during a period of severe price spikes and global disruption. The Trump administration says the SPR releases under Biden didn't just reduce supply. They caused what officials call damage to the system. According to their statements, the drawdowns created $280 million in logistical and operational costs. Needed maintenance was delayed, storage and pumping facilities experienced added stress, and the reserve now needs significant reinvestment before it can be fully refilled. White House spokeswoman Taylor Rogers accused Biden of recklessly draining the nation's emergency oil supply to create the illusion of lower gas prices during his 2024 re-election campaign. Trump officials say they are now gradually refilling the reserve while working with Congress to secure additional funding. Refilling the reserve isn't as easy as turning on a pump, according to Energy Department officials. The SPR currently holds a little over 400 million barrels. Full capacity is around 700 million barrels. Bringing it back up could cost as much as $20 billion, depending on oil prices. In October 2025, the Department of Energy issued a notice to purchase 1 million barrels, marking the beginning of the refill process. Those deliveries are expected by the end of 2025. There are also exchange agreements, for example, a 1 million barrel exchange with ExxonMobil to address a temporary refinery disruption in Louisiana. The company must return the oil plus extra barrels by late 2026. In the 2024 and 2025 election cycles, inflation and affordability became the Democrats' strongest message. They pointed to high costs under Trump's return to office as a key political issue. The Trump administration fired back, blaming higher costs on Biden's energy policies and the 2022 drawdown. Meanwhile, falling gas prices in late 2025 have become a major talking point for Trump officials, who credit their policies for easing pressure on families. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said gas was the most expensive during a presidential term in U.S. history under Biden, and praised recent price declines as proof that Trump's energy agenda is working. The future of the SPR depends heavily on Congress. Lawmakers must approve billions in additional funding to purchase crude and repair parts of the system that officials say were overstressed during the Biden-era releases. The Trump administration says it remains committed to refilling the reserve to the top. But the refill strategy will take years, not months, and will depend on global markets, domestic supply, and budget negotiations on Capitol Hill. What's clear is this: the Strategic Petroleum Reserve has become more than just an emergency stockpile. It is now a symbol in an ongoing political fight over energy policy, economic stability, and who gets the blame, or the credit, for the price Americans pay at the pump. Whether you believe the SPR releases were necessary, reckless, or somewhere in between, the story of America's emergency oil reserve is still being written. If